the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through? For you, for you, for you, for you, for you,
Hello everybody, welcome into PGR eSports live from the World Center of Racing virtual Daytona International Speedway. Got another good one in store for you here tonight, back in the trucks at a track that we don't normally go to in terms of the super speedway side, but we're here tonight, Daytona, and it's a good night for racing. Joining me in the booth is Matthew Baker. Dawson Wise not going to make it out tonight, but nonetheless, Baker, you've been out on the track the last couple weeks. Good to have you back here tonight. You excited?
Yeah, really excited for this race. Excited to see these guys get around this super speedway. Nice to see Daytona at night. We don't go to Daytona often, but we're really mixing up this Q2 schedule, so really excited for this race.
Absolutely. Well, drivers down in the pits getting ready to get rolling, and so we'll get your starting grid lined up and get into your race info before these guys get started here tonight. Kevin Freese takes the pole, puts down a 51.7. Rolling off on his outside. First Coke Series driver in the field tonight, it is Michael Guest. Andrew Navarro back in third. Justin Mills in fourth for BAR. Alex Hill back, rounding out the top five for Dale Cup. Garrett Maines in sixth. Jared Haynes in seventh with Mike Davenport in eighth. Ambrose Kniebel ninth. Good to see him back in the field here tonight. And Zach Range going to be rounding out your top 10. Moving on back to row number 6 and 11th. It's another Coke Series driver, Malik Ray, with John Mullahan from McCullough Motorsports to his outside in 12th. Jason Maines will roll off 13th. Trevor Osnoth back in 14th. Matt Lee 15th with Jeff Merck in 16th. Series owner Michael Triscaro will start from 17th. Tony Cox back in 18th. And it's Joshua Watson and Mark Vondell rounding out your top 20. Anthony Owens will start 21st. William Ransone in 22nd. Mark Math back in 23rd with David Drohan 24th. Nash Brambilla 25th. Nicholas Davis in 26th. Kenny Reel 27th. Devin Ray for KSR in 28th. Sierra Clampert, she will roll off 29th. And J.R. Miller for PGR eSports will roll off in 30th. Chris Blanchard starts 31st. Danny Esterman in 32nd. Tucker McClendon for Blind Squirrel Racing back in 33rd. Sean Corbett in 34th. Dylan Jones 35th. Logan York in 36th. Douglas Camp and Ken McCullough Jr. 37th and 38th. Tyler Vickery in 39th. And Jimmy Emos rounding out row number 20 in 40th. Jonathan Legger going to round out the field tonight. He will start in 41st. Looking at your race breakdown here tonight. Again, the Intimidator Superspeedway Series. Back to the Truck Series here this week. 55 laps, the scheduled distance. 55% fuel in the tanks of these NASCAR Craftsman trucks. No fast repair here tonight. Fixed setups and 3 green-white checkers if we were to need them. Track temp 81 degrees. 2.5 miles around Daytona International Speedway. Just over 30 degrees of banking. High speeds and a lot of bump drafting, the name of the game here. 79 degrees outside, 39% humidity, clear skies, winds at 2 miles an hour, and it is nighttime. The lights are on, bright and shining, and we are ready to get this one going. Row 1, Kevin Fries and Michael Guest getting ready for the first start, initial start, if you will, of the night. And so looking at that fuel window, expecting that first stop probably somewhere, if I had to guess, maybe right around 16 to 18 laps or so. We'll get more to that as things get rolling. First things first, got to get this restart. Here we go. Green flag in the air. We are underway at Daytona.
Lap 1 is in the books. They finished how they started the race. Kevin Fries takes the lead on the bottom side. Michael Guest on that outside lane. Just 2x2 action right now. Low track temp here at Daytona. Nighttime. Track temp's really not going to grow. You're going to see, though, that the temps there on the bottom line are going to run out, especially in these trucks. It's all about where the momentum is. Oh, man, one truck out of line from that middle groove into the bottom line. He gathers it up, though, but a long single file line out behind this. These people want to get to these green flag stops. We've had a couple PGR races where we haven't got to these green flag stops, but Andrew Navarro taking the point there on the outside line with Sean Hill there on the bottom side, getting pushed by Kevin Fries. Lap 2 going to go to Andrew Navarro at the line, maybe. Oh, man, close there, but we got 3 wide action behind, 2 trucks, now 3 trucks up in that third lane.
Tight racing early, and remember, Daytona a little bit tighter than Talladega. 3 lanes here is about 4 lanes at Talladega, so with things being a little bit more narrow, got to be careful, but at the same time, got to stay aggressive, because you know, once that third lane gets going, if you're not able to get into it, there's a good chance you're not going to be able to get to the front without working with one of those lanes. But right now, it is still the bottom that has the most organization. The middle, though, with some really, really strong trucks up front. Kevin Fries in the middle. He's getting pushed by Michael Guest and Garrett Means. Malik Ray looks like he's trying to jump in just in front of Davenport. I think Mike cuts him a little bit of slack there, and he is able to jump in off of 4.
Yeah, it just looks like he wants to go to that third lane. He wants to get the temps rolling, but he just sees that the truck keeps falling off. You know, it's tough. The momentum on the bottom and the middle line are really, really strong right now. Once those temps start to run out and they're not cycling, then that third lane's going to roll. But for now, it's just going to be 2x2.
And it takes longer for those temps to heat up when you got a cool track condition as we do here running in the night. That also, though, gives us a little bit more action here and faster speeds. 192.3, probably going to hit close to 194 as they enter into turn number 3, shooting down the Daytona Super Stretch. But back to 2x2. You talked about it, that third lane. You got to, first of all, get a bunch of guys to get committed to it, and also it's all about timing. Go a little bit too soon. Those are the bottom and the middle, not quite hot. They're still going to have plenty of pushing to do, and right now, though, looks like the middle is going to prevail there as they were able to push Navarro back clear of the bottom. He's doing a good job of controlling here with just 5 laps complete. Talked about a fuel window briefly at the start, Baker, but again, with these trucks looking probably, somewhere right around 16 to 18 laps?
Yeah, looking around 16 to 18 laps. You can stretch it to probably 19, 20 if you're towards the back. But with these trucks, you want to pit with the big pack. That's just how this new draft model works. I say new, but we're almost a year into it. A lot of fun with this new damage model, and excited to see how this racing unfolds, especially if we get to these green flag pit stops.
And I mean, even if you get to lap 20, I don't really see much that it really does for you. You figure if you get to maybe a 20, 27, then you make it a 1 stop. But these guys going to get nowhere close to that. Oh, Mills shoots out of line, trying to save it. He does. Gets back up just in front of the 2 there of John Mullahan, just in front of John Mullahan. Actually, that was Jared Haynes. Wow, what a close call that one was, but a good save right there for Justin Mills. And in fact, we'll take a quick view here of Jared Haynes. He is one of the guys carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. Good looking scheme for the 2-truck. And Baker, we've seen him here a couple weeks, but boy, he came out firing here tonight, aggressive early, and it's paying off. He's still running inside the top 10. Had a great qualifying effort in 8th as well.
Yeah, great qualifying effort, just aggressive. Davenport doing a great job up here. Jared Haynes also doing a great job. Malik Ray making his way through the field, up 4 positions. And biggest mover right now, looking like Mark Math from 23rd on the grid up to 11th position, doing a great job rolling it around. And a truck that I'm confused that's back. I think maybe he lost the draft there. They just weren't tight on the bottom on the start. Is Kenny McCullough. He's trapped with 3 trucks towards the back, and then Jimmy Emos was rounding out the field towards the back. But Kenneth McCullough off the pace early with 3 trucks.
Yeah, we're looking at this group, and if you compare on the track map, they're pretty far back. The leaders working their way just now down the super stretch, and these guys just getting ready to work their way off of turn 2. You talked about Jimmy Emos all by himself. Not sure what the issue was there, but they're going to need a caution to get back in this thing, preferably before they lose a lap. I think they still got plenty of time before that. 3 trucks strong, but certainly hoping to get one sooner or later. A couple guys towards the middle of this pack is, all things considered, remaining pretty calm here at the front of the field. Nobody doing anything too crazy right now. Everybody taking their time, but I want to go back here and take a moment to talk a little bit about Joshua Watson. Currently sits in that 13th position. He's up 6 spots from where he started this race, but man, last couple of weeks, you talk about bad luck. It has hit this guy hard. Last week, I don't even think we got through maybe 5 laps before the first wreck that he got collected in, and not just him, but his teammate, Brian Watson. So Joshua looking for a bit of a turnaround here tonight. He's one of the guys who stays committed. Yeah, that was a big moment there from Zach Range. In fact, just a spot, or just behind Joshua Watson as I was talking about him, but certainly hope to see a good run for Joshua here tonight. We'll see how things pan out. Back up front, Andrew Navarro on the outside, Kevin Freese still on the inside. Really no shuffling as they work their way on the 30-plus degree banking here at Daytona. But, you know, Baker, we talked about how hard it is to get that third lane going, and at a point like this one, you know, to a degree, nobody's really pushing that hard. Everybody's kind of content. You talked about a lot of them would like to get to this green flag stop. At a certain point, if nobody goes up there, it seems like nobody really wants to go up there until somebody else starts it.
Yeah, and the thing is, with this fuel, I'm looking at it now, calculating, you're going to have to run out both of these tanks fully. Oh, Andrew Navarro sideways. Michael Guest gets it back on. It's going to stack that outside lane up, and now they're going to try 3 wide, see if maybe Guest is out of temps, but Nash thinks a little bit better of it. Oh, big wreck.
Oh, and I didn't even realize here that there may have been no audio from me here the last little while. Apologize for that. But man, we were talking about what just happened here with this wreck, and boy, it's a big one. I mean, it's a mess, and you know, it's just, it was a small miscalculation by Garrett at the end of the day. That's really all it was, but it was a pretty big miscalculation, and wow, this cost a lot of guys a chance at potentially a good payout here tonight. Man, oh man, this piles them up behind. Again, it was just slight contact, but it doesn't take much of these trucks, and when you hit a guy in the left rear, right rear in that case, you're not quite clear. It's going to turn that truck around, and once it turned Mills up into Michael Guest, there was just nothing that anybody could do. And I mean, that's a tough one. Baker, you got anything on it? He's probably...
I'm here, sorry, just reviewing that. Looked like Garrett went to pull down, and as soon as he pulled down, and Mills got to the back bumper of the second truck, and it shot him backwards and just turned him around. Unfortunate.
Unfortunate indeed. And again, we'll try to watch this now for the guys that it collected after we saw what the main cause of it to a degree was. And I mean, it's a lot of good trucks that were involved in this. I mean, it was almost 2 wrecks to a degree. The first one, which happened more towards the front, and then where it translated out towards the back of the field here. See Mark Math getting involved. There's a 17 Malik Ray. He's not going to sneak through. Michael Triscaro gets some damage. So does Mike Davenport, and Ashburn Billa goes for a slide. Go back here to TV3. And I will say there wasn't a lot of necessarily super hard hits out of this one, but there was still a lot of hits nonetheless. And, you know, damage is a lot worse when you don't have a fast pair to fix it. It would be, of course, if you did here. Now, this was a big break for those 3 cars out back. Here's another view of it. As this was kind of that secondary wreck, you see Jason there trying everything to check up here, and it looked like he was doing a pretty good job of it initially, but he still got collected. We don't even have enough cameras to cover. I mean, this one, I think we had more cars involved than we didn't in this wreck. And this is another view from the blimp cam of kind of that secondary stack up where you saw the 9 get into Logan York, and then Jason Maines nowhere to go. He gets spun around. Michael Guest, Jeff Merck up top. Looks like the front end of his truck's dented in. Tyler Vickery trying to sneak through there. And we're going to go to turn 3 here. Actually, the middle of the 3 and 4, I should say. And look at this. I mean, you talk about the big one at Daytona. This was the huge one at Daytona. They all come to a halt just between the banking and the transition onto the apron. Logan York, one of the guys who looked like got the worst of this. Watch the onboard view. Gets turned, and then he's going to get tagged here a couple times. Big hits for the 01. Actually, that was Justin Mills in front who took the worst of it. So that'll probably bring Mills' race to an end. We'll give you one more look here at the damage the 4 sustains once he gets turned around in this. And he was at the front, so you knew that it was probably going to stack up to be the worst. Michael Guest, though, see getting all 4 tires up off the ground, as did the 4 of Mills with the 11 sliding in. Just nowhere to go. So as we continue clean up on our first caution here of the night. 12 laps complete here of 55. And it is Kevin Freese being scored as your leader. Alex Hill in second. Andrew Navarro back in third. Jared Haynes in fourth. Ambrose Kniebel fifth. Devin Ray sixth. David Drohan in seventh. Anthony Owens in eighth. Jonathan Legger in ninth. And it's going to be Tony Cox rounding out your top 10. Well, Baker, it collected a lot of them. You've seen some guys that have already had to retire from the race. And he's still getting some stuff sorted out, so we will give him just a moment as here we go. Lights off on the pace car. That means we are going back to green flag racing this time. We got one truck up here with no front bumper and missing a hood. There's no way that thing's going to perform. That's Anthony Owens. Oh boy, watch out for the stack up here on the inside. Green flag back in the air at Daytona. And it's a good start for the inside. The 10, no issues yet. Now he starts to fade a little bit. On the outside, though, we got one truck blinking. That looks like the 28. Can't tell exactly who it is from here, but overall, both lanes able to get rolling. You're going to have a lot of, I think, nervous drivers now in terms of, I don't think we're going to see the side-by-side and potential 3 wide that we were seeing through that first go. I think at this point, you're going to see everybody settle in now and definitely just run this thing until we get to the next pit stop. And that is not for at least another 16 to 18 laps here, so we'll see if everybody can keep themselves calm, cool, and collected. 2 on the outside versus 4 on the inside. Freeze and Navarro are going to get clear of Hill and Haynes, as now Navarro's going to jump up. He's going to be looking for the lead here off of turn 4. Cross the stripe this time. It'll be 14 laps complete here at the World Center of Racing. Navarro gets clear off the nose of Alex Hill. He will jump back to the inside. Kevin Freese, Logan York there as well. By the way, Logan York in the 04, that was not the man who I thought was, or that was one of the guys I thought was involved, but different scheme is what I meant to say than what he had over the course of the last couple of weeks. Chris Blanchard, by the way, in this race, I believe he's in the 9 truck, one of the guys who we saw involved in that first wreck, and we're going to be going back to look at how some of those trucks fared. And as it stands right now, Justin Mills is still in this race, but that truck is heavily torn up, and so he's struggling to just keep pace with the draft even. As further back there is the 01 of Logan York. Sorry, I had mixed it up. The 04 was Ambrose Kniebel, who was running a different scheme than what we're used to seeing, but he's the Blind Squirrel Racing team captain. So far he's got a pretty good night going here with 15 laps complete.
All right, I am back from my race control duties. I had to sort out that start as they had a car with no front bumper taken off, so trying to get that sorted out, and he's towards the back now, so we think we got it all sorted out. Garrett Mainsville making his way back up to the front after that EOL, trying to go 3 wide, but Triscaro there on the outside. No takers yet, going to tuck back in line as you see Hill tuck down to the bottom. Really long line there that was on that start that really resulted in a bunch of people losing the draft here. One car went to the apron there. Oh, one car sideways. Is he going to save it? He does it. Zach Range way towards the back of the field. He saves it. Now he's going to try and spin it around.
And man, oh man, it looks like these guys did not skip a beat, almost as if they didn't wreck with the aggression level we're still seeing, but things back to 2x2, pretty uniform, at least throughout the majority of this front pack. Alex Hill back to the top with another push here from Jared Haynes, and dropping to the back of this group, that is the 28 machine. Looking to tag on here right at the end. I wonder, is that one of the new guys that we have in the field here tonight? I believe it might be, and that is indeed Jonathan Legger. And the 28, he's got a little bit of internet issues going on right now. Joshua Watson just behind him, drafting here with Tucker McClendon, Trevor Osmanoff, and looks like Dylan Jones trying to see if they can catch back up to the field. And then how about the second group that's formed up? Oh, caution. Caution is out. Trouble, not sure exactly where it's at here. As we continue to look for it, and we'll figure it out here. It might have been, was it Zach Range that potentially had some trouble? Ken McCullough Jr., he looks okay. I'm not sure who this one collected. Zach Range, I don't see any damage on that truck. At least, yeah, maybe a little bit on the right front, but and a little bit on the rear. This was the only truck we got reports that may have had an issue that could have potentially brought out this yellow flag, although I don't think it was him here. All right, so we're going to go back to the front and try to break this thing down, as we had a lot of them scattering. You wonder, was that? Oh, that's going to be the culprit right there, front of the pack, just as we had went back to check on everybody else. They got to 3 wide. Devin Ray in the middle, and then Matt Lee here is going to look for a push. We'll go zoom in on this a little bit more here before we actually show you exactly what it looks like. I talked about, well, actually, I guess we haven't talked about it here tonight, but being back in the trucks, you knew the pushing was going to be a lot more aggressive, and right here in the middle, Matt Lee's just going to give... Oh, wow, never mind. Matt Lee doesn't touch him there. That's a bit of a shotgun netcode, if you will, to the left rear. Devin Ray, watch this. Lee's never going to hit him. He gets close. Never touches him. And then boom. See, it just almost like somebody just kicks that truck in the left rear, shoots it out of line. Devin Ray saves it. But then just really tough to hold on to a truck here at a track like Daytona. And that second correction that he has to make is the one that's going to end it here, as gets down into David Drohan. Chris Blanchard trying to shoot the gap. He's going to get involved in this as well, as Devin Ray and David Drohan somehow hold on. Actually, I'll save it, but you cannot blame race control in that case. I mean, looking at that initially, that looked like it was going to be the big one part 2, but somehow Devin Ray, Matt Lee, and Chris Blanchard, David Drohan as well, with absolutely phenomenal saves here to keep us green. Joshua Watson even in the background. You saw him sliding sideways. I don't know how he held on either. Man, what a save by a lot of these guys. So again, I know it put it under caution, but it's not going to bring anybody's race to an end. And in fact, I don't even know if it gave really that many trucks damage. I do want to go to an onboard here for David Drohan. Watch the work he does to hold on to this truck. Never gives up driving it, and drives right out of what was about to be a spin, and him going back up into the pack. Show you a couple more views here. This is from TV2. And that actually helped straighten Devin Ray out. Then Matt Lee shoots up. He's going to tag Garrett. That gets Garrett, I think, some slight contact with the outside safer barrier, but again, nothing that should be race ending by any means. Well, I'll tell you what, Baker, that was a heck of a save from my view. How did race control feel about it? he is still getting some stuff sorted out, so we'll leave him to it for now, as there was another view of David Drohan. As we go back live, though, Alex Hill being scored as your leader, Kevin Fries in second, Andrew Navarro back in third, Jimmy Emos up 36 positions from where he started this race in fourth right now. Ambrose Knievel back in fifth, Garrett Maines in sixth after that EOL for the first caution. Michael Triscaro back in seventh, John Mullihan eighth, Chris Blanchard in ninth, and Jared Haynes currently rounding out your top 10. Trevor Oswald hanging just outside the top 10. He sits in 11th. Boy, it's been quite a crazy start to the race. 2 cautions here in just 18 laps. The first one collected, well, what honestly seemed like just about the entire field. But since then, things have calmed down a little bit. We just had that caution there, but nobody was actually collected. Had a couple trucks that almost spun on the racing surface. They all saved it, though. And we'll get the one-to-go signal right here as the lights go off. It'll be Alex Hill scored as your leader. Again, Kevin Fries in second. They're making up row number 1. Andrew Navarro, the lead pusher. Him and Hill were working pretty good together during that last little run that we had. We'll see what they can make happen right here. And on the outside there, the 55, Jimmy Emos looking to see if he can maybe cash tonight. Since we're bringing up the topic of cashing here, let's talk briefly about what payouts are going to be scheduled and looking like here tonight. It was a $17 entry fee based off 45. Came just short of that. So this is in general similar to what they might be, a little different, but right around 200 to first, 150 to second, 135 to third, 120 to fourth, and $100 to fifth. By the way, PGR eSports going to be back tomorrow night. Different track, same network. Make sure you tune in to that one if it, I believe it's being broadcast. It's all on the flyer that it certainly was, so guess we'll see there. But nonetheless, Baker, with this many cautions early, how is this going to kind of shake up the strategy play?
Well, I'm just watching people wreck under pit road and under the pace speed. Mark Fondell just went around. Mark Fondell, they all wrecked. One lost on the high lane, stopped in the middle of the track on the pace lap, and took out 4 trucks. So it looks like maybe his wheel disconnected. I don't know, but it's going to change the strategy up. I don't really know what your question was. I'm dealing with some crazy stuff over race control.
I'll leave you to it. We were just taking a look back at that incident under caution. I should say one of those incidents under caution. So it's a full moon night, at least outside of my apartment here, and it's certainly showing that right now. But here we go. Engines roar back to life. Green flag back in the air at Daytona. It's a good initial restart, at least from the top 3. Everybody else, though, still trying to find the gears and trying to get up to their lane to help push and move the momentum forward. Right now, though, it looks like 4 on the inside is going to be Jimmy Emos, still struggling to get some help on the outside. Dylan Jones drops low just in front of the 28 truck. John Mullihan now trying to line up the 55. Does anybody else jump up? Sure enough, they will. Looks like Garrett Maines and Michael Triscaro try to beat everyone else to the punch, but Kevin Fries read it. He jumps up as well. And now that'll push the 55. Jimmy Emos to the inside. Oh, he almost gets out of shape. So I think he got a little tap there from Trevor Osnoff getting into turn number 3. Side by side here, the 55. Still a little bit wobbly. Everybody keeping close tabs on what's going on at the front. Going to be 21 laps complete when we cross the stripe this time. Fries with some momentum now from Garrett. Those two work together a lot, and they're hoping they can take control here. But you know Navarro's not going to give it up too easy as he continues to push Alex Hill and holds him out in front on the bottom.
Side by side here, you see Hill taking the lead for a moment. Kevin Fries been up front all day. Seeing those two pushing on that top end, middle, and bottom lines. They both have been in incidents early, went to the back, made their way back to the front. Andrew Navarro, Garrett Maines trying to control their lines early, but Michael Triscaro really wants to get up there and get his first win. I'm looking for Michael Triscaro. I'll call him my shot. I think he's getting his first win tonight. There's a bunch of chaos. He loves Daytona. He loves the truck. He just needs a little help.
I think the safest place in the field right now is probably at the front. We've seen wrecks just about everywhere else. So right now, Michael Triscaro, as you noted, doing a phenomenal job. And in fact, he is actually another one of the guys that we have carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. We'll hop on his onboard cockpit view here. Actually, we'll hop to the roll bar, see just what it's like to drive at well over 190 miles an hour as they roll off the plus 30-degree banking down the super stretch. And you can see his job right here is just to provide that arrow push. Doesn't necessarily need to get physically on the back bumper of Garrett Maines and try to push him. Just needs to stay relatively close. That way if Garrett fades, he can push him right back up to the back bumper of Kevin Freeze. Doing a good job of it right now, but you can see just how stressful it is. And I'll tell you what, Baker, for a cool track temp and to be in the Truck Series, it seems like there's a couple guys struggling a little bit with the handling here tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if it's struggling with handling, not used to the Daytona and the banking compared to Talladega. I know it's a little bit squirrely. This setup is not as good as the Talladega setup for the trucks. You could really feel like you're on top of the track. That's how you get squirrely. So I think that's playing into it. But the cooler track temps are going to help. They're just trying to push all through each other.
Definitely feels like a Daytona. You got to put a lot more wheel into it through the corners as well. And when you try to push a guy, you got to make sure you're square. And speaking of square, Navarro squared up to 77 a hill, pushed him right back out in front into the top lane. Kevin Freeze okay with it. He'll stick to the back bumper. Nobody looking to split 3 wide, at least not right now. Further back, though, that's a different case. We got a couple guys trying to get a third lane formed up, and including one of the rookies, Jonathan Legger, trying, but doesn't get any help. Joshua Watson with a big moment closer up front. The 0-1 got moved out of line. Looks like he'll be able to jump back in here behind Matt Lee. But boy, that was another close call as we start to approach the halfway point in this race. Baker, any idea, though, on when we're going to potentially be seeing what I assume now is only one more green flag stop?
Yeah, the fuel is close here. It's going to be a big strategy play, but I think track position's way more keen than trying to get down for these pit stops. So you're going to see these guys really try and fight to stay up front here 2x2.
Well, we heard Malik Ray say it. It was when he got, I'm not sure if it was when he got his win or if one of his podiums, but he was kind of the first guy to bring it up in an interview, and he said, you know, one of the things he learned by coming over here and racing in PGR is that it's not always about the strategy call. It's normally about track position. And that holds so true, especially in a race like tonight where, you know, we've already had a couple cautions. There's a good chance we have a couple more, and so you can't necessarily bank on this thing going green and having the strategy call. If it does, great. You got beat straight up, but you got to stick to what could be the reality of it, which is probably at least another caution, especially as we're going to see him now fan back out 3 wide. Down the back, this time it looks like it's the 78 of J.R. Miller, new scheme, and he wants to go to the front. Joshua Watson lending him an 8. Looks like Jason Maines was up there for a moment as well, but he'll drop back to the middle. 2x2 at the front, but you can definitely tell a couple guys that are getting antsy, getting eager to try to get to the front well before we do get to this first round of green flag stops.
One car on the outside lap car. They're going to be 3 wide. The lap car is going to be at the wall here. He comes down just a little bit, needs to get a little bit higher here. He does so. Oh man, that was a scary moment there. A little bit offset. Oh man. Oh, there it is. 4 wide. 1 around, 2 around, just two.
We got to keep it green for now. Trying to figure out exactly who it was. Joshua Watson. Nope, that was the 00. Oh, no, Joshua Watson did have some trouble too, but he saved it. It was the 00 that I saw go off here. Trying to figure out exactly who that was. Was it Douglas Camp potentially? No, the 408's good to go. He gets through this. It's Nicholas Davis in the 00. And not sure how much damage he's got, but man, you were worried about that, and it's just one of those things where these guys, they've got to be able to figure it out to a certain degree, and 4 wide at Daytona here doesn't work well, and you know, you saw the first couple were able to try to get back to 3 wide to get around the lap truck, but this is going to be an unfortunate deal for a couple guys, as we're going to actually go back up here closer to where this happens. Watch Joshua Watson here. We're going to go to the chopper view. Actually, we'll go to the zoomed in shot as Watson's up top at this point, and there's the lapper. I think he's trying to help out. Potentially, is he trying to help out Mark Math here? No, I don't think he is. He is trying to go down, though, to get around, and he gets into the door at Davenport. That gets Davenport out of shape and gets him back up into Mark Math and the 199, who's got nowhere to go. That sends Watson down into the 00 there. Nicholas Davis. And Davis doesn't hit the inside wall. He saves it.
Oh, man, 1 out of line towards the front of the field. That's Ambrose. Oh, yeah, that's Ambrose Knievel. He's down on the apron trying to save it. Oh, another one around. End of the field. It's going to be a caution here.
The 28 goes around as everybody else. Ooh, now sliding in Ken McCullough Jr., Logan York, and Kenny Reel. Caution flies for the 3rd time here tonight. We were just getting done with the replay review of that last incident and pretty quickly had another one, but this time it does bring out the caution. It all gets started here with the 04 of Ambrose Knievel getting shot out of line as he was riding towards the front of the field. Let's see, is there a checkup here potentially Go to the blimp cam. Watch the 04. Second on the inside. And no, it's not a checkup. He gets a little bit of, is it contact or is it a little bit of netcode here from Kevin Freeze in the top lane? Watch closely there. The left rear with the right front for the Chrome 25 of Kevin Freeze. I don't think he ever touches him. I think there's a slight bit of right front netcode there between these two. I think that's what gets Ambrose out of shape. And watch this here. Yeah, he never hits him. And that slight bit of netcode, though, that sends Ambrose Knievel off the track. He's trying to save it. And as he goes to come back up, Blanchard has to check up slightly. Now, Ambrose did keep it down, but like I said, initially it looked like he was coming up. So Blanchard really didn't have much of a choice there. He had to put on the brakes. Otherwise, he was afraid he might have got tagged himself right here. And then, now watch this checkup escalate all the way back. And it just gets worse and worse the further back you go. Lee actually hits the back of Trevor Osmoth pretty square. And then where Jonathan Legger runs was just an unfortunate position here as they all dive off low. He's going to get tagged in the back by Jimmy Emos, who you saw was trying to check up. You saw the fire out of the pipes, just couldn't quite do it in time, and then eventually sends him all the way around. Tucker McClendon has nowhere to go as he commits to the top. The 28 slides up, and then there's that secondary incident with a couple others that slid in, including Ken McCullough Jr., Kenny Reel, and Logan York. We'll go watch this here from a bit of a different perspective. But again, Ambrose and everybody else that checked up is okay, and they were almost to the point where this checkup made it through the pack without actually wrecking anybody, but just at the back, the tail end of it, finally caught up there as the 55 and 28 weren't able to avoid contact, and then this was just a product of that group running pretty close behind, not quite able to check up in time. But overall, they did a good job of avoiding most of the damage, and I do think it's going to be the 28 and the 00 who have it the worst, at least in terms of this one. There's the contact for Tucker McClendon to Jonathan Legger. And then he slides back down. And there's Ken McCullough Jr., Kenny Reel, and Logan York sliding in as well. So as we go back live now up front, Alex Hill being scored as your leader. Garrett Maines in second, John Mullahan in third, Andrew Navarro fourth, Tyler Vickery rounding out your top five. And so it's going to be about 25, 24, depending if we have the one to go signal this time or not. Laps to go when we go green here. So still expecting a green flag stop, but it's now only one, and it should be a pretty definite strategy for the most part here, as these guys, again, can go about 16 to 18 laps, depending on where you're at in the pack, if you're leading or if you're back in the pack in the draft saving. And yeah, it's 25 to go right now, so I think this is going to be either 24, maybe even 23 to go, as you can see scoring is currently all messed up. So these guys, they'll get it sorted out here over the course of the next lap or so before we get going back green. In the meantime, we're going to take a quick break. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Daytona. Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
3 by 3.
Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega. Green flag back in the air. 24 laps to go at Daytona for the PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series. Good initial restart here for Garrett and Alex. Garrett, by the way, remember, had to make his way back to the front after getting an EOL from that first incident. Now we got the caution all cleaned up. Let's see if we can get still potentially a one green flag pit stop in, but right now there's a little bit of a break between packs. The front six have pulled away from 7th on back. Chris Blanchard catching a draft, though, on the inside, and on the outside, series owner Michael Trisquero still hanging strong. He's got a push from his teammate J.R. Miller, Matt Lee, and Dylan Jones, the other two stragglers on the outside. But everybody else is lined up on the inside. Garrett able to get clear. He drops down through 3 and 4, and now that leaves Navarro and Freeze all by themselves as they race to the tri-oval.
Just 6 trucks there, and then a long single file line towards the back here. It can be a little bit of fuel saving here. It's not too much of an issue. You still are going to have one stop here.
Never mind. And Navarro slides down. Does he keep it down there? He does, but caution's going to fly anyway. And the 42. Don't see any damage. Didn't hit anything there besides, of course, that transition from the banking down to the flat. But an iRacing, that doesn't affect the trucks too bad, so I think he'll be okay here. As, man, these guys really struggling here tonight. I'm not sure what is going on. If it's just product of Daytona or what the deal is, but here we go. Let's see if we can break down where this one kind of all goes wrong. Going into the corner here, Freeze is pushing Navarro, and it's almost another look of some sort of netcode or glitch. I don't know what you want to even call it at this point, but I don't think that had anything to do there with Freeze's pushing. As the way it snaps the truck around just doesn't fit that at all. Watch Navarro here as they get into the corner. Freeze is pushing. Oh, that's what it is. Sure enough, from the bottom, John Mullihan washing up a little bit here. Not hugging the yellow as he gets into the turn. Navarro, they're already pinching this inside pretty tight. They have to. There's only 2 of them, and it's close. Whether or not it's a slight bit of netcode or contact, but I think you got to chalk that one down as potentially a little bit of contact there. As even if there wasn't netcode, I think there was probably going to be some contact nonetheless right there, and that gets Navarro down into Hill. Lucky that did not turn the 77 head on into the outside wall, but as Navarro tries to save it here, Freeze checks up, and actually, I think for the most part, Freeze keeps it off of him here. Maybe slightly taps him. I don't even know if he did. Yeah, just barely clips him there, but 42 is going to go around, go down the track here. J.R. Miller misses him, as does everybody else. And it's a phenomenal save. And I don't know how nobody hits him there, but a great job again by Andrew Navarro there to by Kevin Freeze to check up, and Michael Trisquero as well, as he had to do a lot of braking himself to not run into the back of Kevin Freeze, who was checking up for Navarro. Let's go to the onboard view here first off for Kevin Freeze and show you how close this was from his view. Man, tell you what, you do not have long to react, especially in these trucks. And for Kevin Freeze to be thinking that quick, to know that, instead of trying to jump to the outside here, let me get on the brakes and maybe he'll slide back down, is just absolutely incredible piece of driving, if you will. And here's the zoomed in view showing you just how close it was for Andrew Navarro and Kevin Freeze from the TV perspective here. And watch this here. So Freeze is going to see the 42. He goes initially to go high. Now he sees him coming back up, so he's going to get hard on the brakes here. And just barely clips him. And then Navarro, as he slides down the banking, you see J.R. Miller just able to go through without hitting anything. Then Navarro locks it down. goes for rather a pretty harmless slide through the grass. And so while it's going to cost him track position, the truck's still clean, and I don't think he's going to have any problem getting back to the front. We've seen it plenty of times before from Navarro. I think we'll see it again here tonight. 21 laps to go, going to be probably about 19. We'll get the green. So again, now this puts us in another fuel strategy mode, and I think the last 3 races that we've commentated, well, I guess I should say the last 2, and if it happens tonight, it'd be the last 3, have came down to fuel strategy. Don't forget Tuesday Night Thunder. Matthew Baker getting the job done there, and then PGR eSports, the Intimidator Superspeedway Series, when we were in the next gens just a week ago rather, came down to that. ARCA cars not the case, but point being, there's been a lot of fuel finishes here recently on the money racing scene. We might get another one of those here tonight. So we'll get the 20 laps to go mark. Matt Lee being scored as your leader. Michael Guest, for being involved in that incident early, a little bit surprised here to see this, but the truck looks cleaned up, and he is now back to the front in second. And he'll have a good shot here. Malik Gray back in third. Same deal for him. We saw that truck get banged up earlier. The 55, Jimmy Emo still hanging strong in the top 5. Garrett Maines rounding out your top 5. Alex Hill back in 6th. Tyler Vickery 7th. Kevin Freeze in 8th. J.R. Miller 9th. And Michael Triscaro rounding out your top 10. Well, it's good to see everybody out here watching tonight. Certainly appreciate it. Heath Job in the chat. Hope you're having a good night. Aubrey Thompson. Backyard Bird. Troy Elliott. 7C's event. Shirley Cox. Heath Job says, why caution? Pretty good guess. And in fact, we've got a race control right here in booth with us, but a feeling there because that one looked like it was going to be a lot bigger. The 42 looking like initially it was going to slide back up the racetrack. And again, it's always going to be a tough choice. You can't always win as race control, but the general idea is if in a situation like that, it's getting ready to be big, either Baker throws the caution there and maybe it ends up being that there's not a wreck, or he doesn't throw it and there's a giant wreck and everybody's on him about it. So I don't think race control had too much of a call there, but Baker, how'd you see it?
Yeah, it's one car, but he was sideways in front of the field. You don't ever know if he's going to hook it back to the right or what's going to happen. So I threw the caution early. It wasn't more than 3 cars, but I thought it was for the safety of the trucks. I know it's not real life, but I know it's for real money. So I think these guys be happy with it.
Absolutely. All right, here we go. Lights are off on the pace car. So we're going to be going back green with 19 to go. Boy, Baker, if it was close on fuel before, it sure is close now. Even if you save a lot, can you make it from here?
I don't know. In these trucks, it's so tough to have off throttle time. I really don't see any trucks making it here. What I would do if I'm these leaders, or I'm like Navarro towards the back here, I'm pitting as soon as I can, getting away from these guys, and they're gonna wreck at some point, and then you get to flip that track position.
Yeah, and I got to think that window opens up here to be safe at least, probably about 5-6 laps from now. So green flag back in the air, 19 laps to go. It's time for the action to start picking up here at Daytona right off the start. The 55 of Jimmy Emos is going to pull high now. Devin Ray, a couple others try to do the same. It causes a stack up on the outside, but it looks like they're all going to jump down a lane and they'll all be able to get out of harm's way here. No issues. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Matt Lee has taken control. Malik Ray, Garrett Maines just behind Michael Guest with not a lot of help right now. And in fact, that outside they're not going anywhere, Baker. They all single filed out. So either they're all going into aggressive fuel saving mode, or they're going with your strategy of pitting pretty soon and trying to get to the inside and be able to do so.
No, I think Jimmy Emos just had a really bad start on the top. He was second in line on the top lane, and that's the most important truck to get in line and get pushing immediately. So you're going to see that momentum really stall out. Tyler Vickery up in front of Kevin Freeze with Garrett Maines. Big block. Matt Lee to the top. Oh, man. Bottom's hung all the way out. Sideways. Garrett Maines pushes him. They were 3 pushing deep on that middle line. Oh, my gosh. I can't even get the words out for how crazy that was through the front stretch.
I think that was Garrett's way of saying, well, if you're going to jump up here, man, you better take the push because I've got to run and I'm not lifting. But they all hold it together there. Now Garrett leading the outside with a push from Tyler Vickery. Here comes the third lane. And guess who? Michael Triscaro, the first man to jump out of line as he'll fishtail around a little bit down the super stretch. He's got help from Devin Ray and Jason Maines for a moment, but that momentum is going nowhere. And so all 3 of those trucks are going to jump back down to the middle. Malik Ray pushes Matt Lee clear the top. Now Garrett will line the 04 back up. And if Malik can get a little bit of a surge here, does he? Yes, he does. And now the 17 trying to lead his first lap of the night. Won't get it that time. Garrett with the coolest temps right now. He's going to see if he can push the 04 back clear with the hope that Matt Lee will jump back down to the bottom. Not going to happen, though, as they work their way into turn 1. 17 laps to go, by the way. They draw about 2 to 3 laps closer now to that fuel window. Drag race.
To the bottom. They're sorry to cut you off. Matthew Lee to the bottom. One car off in the back. He's going to park it. Looks like he's in some bad internet connection, but Andrew Navarro is in jeopardy of losing the draft here. He went to the outside. There's no real push to Nashville Bill from Mike Davenport, and they're starting to fall off these trucks, and it's fading for Andrew Navarro, who was dominant early on.
That might be good news, though, for them, because up here they're getting aggressive, and it looks like they're getting ready for potentially another wreck. Everybody, the gaps are tightening it up here as Garrett Maines gives a huge push. Look at Alex Hill. He will get clearing by plenty on Matt Lee. Does he jump down? Yes, he does. Further back to 2 of Jared Haynes, almost up into the 22 of Devin Ray. And you saw the 124 out of all that shuffling was the man who got cycled out, and he will get sent to the back of this pack. He'll have to try to regroup, try to make a resurgence. 16 going to be coming to 15 laps to go this time. Now we should be inside that fuel window, Baker. What do you think here? Who do you see potentially coming down, or with this rate, them being 2x2, do you think they're all staying out for now?
I think they're all staying out for now. They're going to try and push it as long as they can. Alex Hill up in front.
Wrecking out back.
2, 3 round. Caution's going to come out.
Caution is out, as it was the 28 of Jonathan Legger. First one I saw go around here. As the 28 is going to try to put it in reverse and get it back rolling the right way. I don't see a ton of damage on that truck from this, but I do see a couple of scrapes. Couldn't tell if, or who else got involved. We saw at least 2 or 3 spin right out of the gate here. And it's going to start with the 408. I believe that's Doug Camp. And then is this the 42 of David Drohan? Yes, it is. As they come together, and then Drohan here is going to try to shoot the gap, but unfortunately runs out of room, nowhere to go. He plows into the 28. The 408 there of Doug Camp. He's able to save it. So, again, not a big wreck, but 3 trucks nonetheless. And in this case, I think that the 28 and the 408, or excuse me, and the 42 rather, getting the worst of it. And, boy, David Drohan, what a job he was doing here tonight, and just a lot of really, really bad luck. You hate to see that. But how this thing starts here is it looks like just a little bit of a wash-up from the 4.8 here of Doug Camp. Not sure if he was trying to get behind the 28. I mean, I think that's got to be my best guess, but I mean, not really even close to clear, and just clips the 28 in the left rear and sends him right around here. The 42 of David Drohan just has nowhere to go, so you see it dents in. Concaves rather in the front of his truck. And then there's the 28 getting it back rolling. So he's going to have a lot of work to do, but first he'll get that truck worked on a little bit, see if he can't get it fixed up. Back in racing shape here. Give you one more view of this before we go back live. Not too much to analyze on this one, but still the wreck nonetheless here. And again, it all starts at a turn 4. All right, so as we do go back live, this will now put everybody in the fuel window. So, of course, you're going to see everybody bringing down to the pits, or at least I would have thought you certainly would have here. But it looks like we did have a couple that decided to stay out here. So what they're going to try to do instead is they're going to try to save it via the cautions. I think they're expecting that we're going to get some more cautions. And, boy, that's a really tough call to make there because, you know, at this point, if you pit, you're good to go on fuel the rest of the way, and probably even for an overtime if you need one, where if you don't pit, you're probably good to go the rest of the way, but you're going to have to do some saving. If this thing goes green, that might make it even tougher. And then also, if we go into overtimes, may not be good anymore. But I'll tell you what, if that doesn't tell you that track position is important, then I don't know what does. Alex Hill, your leader, he decided to stay out along with quite a few others. Matt Lee second, Garrett Maines third, and Kevin Fries in fourth. Trevor Osmanoff back in fifth. Dylan Jones sixth, Devin Ray in seventh. Jason Maines eighth, Jared Haynes in ninth, and J.R. Miller currently rounding out your top 10. Well, Baker, I mean, you've been in the trucks before. We saw you the last couple weeks in a couple different series. What would you have done in that situation? You think you would have went in there to top off to be safe, or do you got to keep the track position?
I think I'd watch what the leaders do and not leave their back bumper. Let them burn all that fuel up if they wanted to stay out, and just try and play my luck on the fuel strategy, just like I did Tuesday night. Didn't work out for Merck, but worked out for the team in general. So I like the call for going for it, and you got some of the best up here: Kevin Freeze, Alex Hill, Garrett Maines, Matthew Lee, all making the calls here. So that's a veteran call from them, and they think that they can save enough to make it, or they are just not short at all. So we'll see here coming to want to go.
Yeah, and even if they were, they're not going to reveal their cars. We've seen this before. It's all a game of, honestly, it can be a game of drops of fuel by the end. I mean, we saw how close it was for Jeff Merck on Tuesday. Running out, if he would have ran out just a little bit later, he might have had a chance. And I believe, I think you said you actually ran out at the Geico restart zone, so it's a lot of things that can happen, and it's going to be interesting to see what this comes down to, but it's going to be 12 laps to go. And again, we're going to have to make it. It's still a long ways away, and I don't think it's going to happen without at least one, if not a couple cautions to that point. But for this race to be official, we got to get to the white flag. So we'll see if we can get those first 11 laps clean. I think the big thing is, though, these guys who are out here who didn't pit, they might be okay with, as you said, kind of sticking together. But the guys who already did pit that are good to go, it's a free-for-all now for them. It's a mad dash to the front. And I think if we haven't seen enough aggression tonight, you're getting ready to see even more of it, as everybody's going to be in a race to get to that third lane and lead it all the way to the front of the field. And in hindsight, when you look at what we've got in the field, there are still a lot of drivers who are looking for that first PGR win. But at the end of the day, the guys that have the most are usually the guys you see at the front of these races by the end. So we'll see what happens, but could certainly potentially still see a first-time winner here tonight. All right, so again here, field going to be in the hands of Alex Hill and Matt Lee. Kevin Freeze, Garrett Maines in row number 2, and Trevor Osvanoff and Dylan Jones in row number 3. And here we go. By the way, update on Andrew Navarro after that incident earlier. Finds himself back in 22nd. Still a lot of distance to make up, but you see quite a few big names back here still. 17, Malik Ray, Michael Guest together. Ken McCullough Jr. back there as well. Logan York, Mike Davenport, Naspram Billa. And so I think he'll be able to find his way back to the front. Question is, does he have enough time? Pace car rolls off into the pits, back into the restart zone. Green flag in the air. 12 laps to go at Daytona. Good restart. Probably the most uniform looking one we have seen all night. The first 5 to 6 rows on the inside and the outside, all with a good start. And it's a dead heat all the way down into turn 1 as they climb up the 30-plus degree banking. It is the inside that will start to surge out in front here. That'll last for just a moment here as they get down the back. Watch Kevin Freeze lining up the back bumper of Alex Hill here for a big push down the super stretch. And he does get that push. Problem is, the bottom is now 3-truck tandem. Then Matt Lee is not going anywhere. Garrett Maines and Trevor Osvanoff connected as Jones tries to aid the top. Alex Hill is going to have to pinch. He's got a side draft right here. He does just that, and they can only push like this for so long, tandem-wise that is, Baker. They'll have to back off, and thinks that outside can hold the inside at bay. To that point, they're going to get the advantage, but about the ground they made in that first lap already causing some separation here and a little bit of a formation of a second pack.
Yeah, definitely. They're pushing on the tops and bottoms. I'm watching Malik Ray stream right now. Go over and check him out at Campaign Ray on Twitch TV. He's having a ball, laughing all the way towards the back. He doesn't care. He's having a good time with his buddy Michael Guest, and been involved early in some wrecks. He's just out there having some fun now.
It's certainly going to be fun to watch if those two can get locked together and try to make their way to the front later. But starting to single file out towards the middle portions of the field. Up front, though, the race for the lead is still on, and it is still between Alex Hill and Matt Lee. Neither lane yet has been able to actually surge out in front. They continue here to be at kind of a dead heat, at least for the moment, as Trevor Osvanoff pushing. He's doing a lot of work, and we got his onboard cam, and well, you see he is pushing for everything he's worth right there on the bottom, even third in line.
And see with the stacking up in the middle and the bottom lines, that's going to allow this third line to roll because these temps are going to run out for sure.
And when they run out, that third lane is going to go to the front, and J.R. Miller, he already has a win this season in Tuesday Night Thunder, would like to capture one here this season in PGR. And he's got a great shot at it here if he can keep that run that he's got going. Oh, Freeze is all out of shape. Fishtailing down the super stretch as he jumped up, looked for a block, and now we are back to 3x3 just like that. Man, that outside, Baker, they're pinching this middle tight. I don't know if we're going to make it to the white flag if they keep racing like this. Oh, we just had a near incident. I saw somebody throw a block on Zach Raines for, I guess, what is this, 25th place? That was a really, really close one.
Malik Ray putting all the blocks on, trying to keep his truck momentum up.
Certainly so. And now the middle stacking up. Oh, hold your breath right here. They're going backwards as now Logan York, Andrew Navarro start to hit bumpers, but they all hold it together yet again. Garrett Maines on the bottom, Matt Lee in the middle. The 25 of Kevin Freeze up top, 3x3. 9 laps to go. Going to be 8 when we cross the stripe. And we talked about how close fuel was, Baker. If you run out in the middle of a pack like this, it is going to cause the huge one.
Oh, it's brewing up. Kevin Freeze is really, really side drafting. Malik Ray now back to the back bumper here with Michael Guest. They're going to take it 4 wide as soon as they get here. They don't care. They're going to try and pull this pin here. You're going to see Malik Ray try and jump up to that third line. He doesn't. Matt Lee jumps to the bottom there. Hill in the middle. Kevin Freeze, he got shuffled to the outside line. He's just stuck there. Oh, man, I think Hill may move up here. He's not going to, though. He's working with Hill very, very well. Him and Lee pushing on that middle line with Garrett Maines on the bottom.
Oh, and Blanchard's trying to push about 6 back in line. That's not going to work. The 2 of Jared Haynes with a big moment right there. Blanchard just trying to be a little bit too aggressive there, trying to make this line move, but you can't unless you're, one of the first 3 trucks in line. You mentioned Guest and Malik, and you mentioned, and I would say this applies to anybody in the field, going to that 4th lane. I don't think there is a 4th lane to go to right now. Now, it's as tight as their side draft, and there could be one that develops, but here we go. Dylan Jones, he found himself a spot to jump up, and he does so just as Matt Lee jumps down to cool. So Alex Hill will now take the lead in the middle, but does this top have enough momentum to roll clear of Alex down the super stretch? I'm not sure if they do, but man, the pushes, you can tell, Baker, they are getting more and more aggressive. It seems like each lap, they add an extra truck per row that's trying to push. Now we're back to 3rd, even the 4th guy in a couple of these lines are trying to push it. It's not going to work. Jason gets, there it is! The big one at Daytona Part 2. They're all piloted, one upside down. Back on all 4, couldn't tell who it was. Through the grass goes multiple others. And I think it might have been Jason Maines who we saw get up on the safer barrier. You knew it was just a matter of time before things went sideways, and Double Zero gets back rolling here. All right, let's go back and look at it here, as these guys are now going to set themselves up for what could either be a natural green-white checkered or potentially our first overtime here of the night. Well, they were 3 wide, and it's going to be a little bit of tunnel vision, I have a feeling, here from Jason Maines. Watch as Alex Hill jumps down here. Alex gets clear, knows he's clear. He's going to jump down to the bottom, and that's exactly what it is, Baker. Jason just following him a little bit down at the same time. What I don't think helped is right as that happened, Garrett is applying the push to Lee, and it's just a really bad circumstance more than anything. Nobody doing anything wrong, just getting a little bit of that tunnel vision, I think, there for Jason Maines, which has happened to me. It's happened to you. It's just something that can happen at these super speedways when you're focused and pushing this aggressive, and then a little bit of a stack up. That's not what causes the wreck necessarily, but it translates a little bit backwards here. As watch Joshua Watson in the 01. He gets up a little bit, and now he's going to get down a little bit. And then Trevor Osmoth, who's up a little bit. It's just a stack up, and eventually they start getting into each other. And once the wreck's on, it's on. And look at some of the hits these guys are going to take here. Jason, as he gets turned around, watch this. Truck's going to get pinched up into the air a little bit, and then it's actually going to climb up. And does he go quite over? Not quite here. As he gets tagged by Corbett, truck comes back on all 4. There's Michael Triscaro sliding in, along with a plethora of other drivers who just really had nowhere to go. Oh, Drohan, last second there, tagging the front end of Sean Corbett, giving him a little bit of extra damage there as well. Well, it's a product of the racing, Baker. You knew it was a matter of time, and I mean, that to me just looked like kind of a racing incident there of just everybody pushing hard, going for it, and starts with a couple different little mistakes there, and eventually they all kind of add up and lead to, again, what's been our second big one here tonight.
Yeah, just that was a lot of fun racing to watch there. We had a lot of really bad runs there towards the middle. We had 3 wide there for the last 5-6 laps, but just really, really excited to watch that 3 wide racing. But you just see one little mistake causes a stack up, and then the chaos ensues.
And one thing I'll say was I think this was the first one tonight where we really did see a lot of really hard shots out of this one. And The reason I mention that is because I think this is going to either retire a couple guys for the night or at least take them out of contention to win with the damage that a few of them took. There's a couple more angles of it. Garrett, man, hard impact in the outside wall for him as well. Rabilla tried to sneak through, and he may have actually for the most part, maybe just a little bit of damage. Let's go to the blimp view, see if we can find anybody that actually snuck through this one here. The play slow for you. Logan York jumps low. I think he is. Nope, he's going to actually get turned down into Trevor Osnaut. They make a little bit of contact. They see the 9 of Chris Blanchard, though. He is going to make it mostly through, gets into the back of the 2 there. And there's the 78 of Jared Miller. Nashburn Billa running into these guys with just really nowhere to go. Overall, that 23 did a pretty good job maneuvering through this. You saw he took a pretty big shot there off of Garrett. And then Michael Guest basically comes to a stop here. In the back, he sees him wrecking and says, I'm not going to even try to drive through it. I'll just wait till you guys get it all sorted out. Has to jump low. Jumps low again and does a nice job missing it himself here. And that'll help him keep some track position and not have to worry about going in to repair the truck. In fact, the final view of this, or one of the final views, let's go to an onboard view here for Michael Guest and see what it looked like out front and the job he had to do to get through it. Saw Malik Ray try to jump to the apron. He got tagged. I believe, I can't tell who it was by there, but I don't know how bad the damage was. There's Zach Range at the end, getting a little bit of contact as well. We'll give you one final view of this here from the wall cam as they got into turn 3. And so a big incident puts us back under caution here for the 6th time here tonight in 55 laps. But we're getting ready for what's going to be a 3-lap shootout. So a natural overtime +1, if you will. Again, got to make it green these first 2 laps to take the white flag before this race to be official. However, if we get a caution, then we will rack them up and try it again. And so it's Matt Lee being scored as your leader, Alex Hill in 2nd, Dylan Jones 3rd. Trevor Osnaut in 4th, Logan York in 5th, Kevin Freeze actually in 5th, Logan York 6th. And then rounding out row number 4 is going to be Devin Ray and Andrew Navarro. Well, if you're just tuning in, you certainly picked a good time to do so. And the time that all the moves are getting ready to be made, whatever fuel is now, it is what it is. And I think everybody up front, that caution helped. They don't want to see us go into overtime, but that just gave us less regulation laps, which means they were able to save some more. So got to feel confident that any of the front runners who weren't in that wreck should be good to go. The big question now is, can we make it around this 2.5-mile super speedway 2 times to make this race official? And who is going to win the big money here tonight? Green flag back in the air. 3 laps to go at Daytona. Alex Hill gets a great start. He's going to have the option potentially here to jump down. Not going to be able to do it, though. Dylan Jones with a great shove to the back bumper there early of Matt Lee, and that'll get Lee back even as they dive into turn number 1. Watch for these runs to develop out back. Baker, you see a couple of these guys. Navarro, Logan York, Malik Ray, Ken McCullough Jr., Michael Guest. A lot of strong drivers on that outside. Question's going to be, who takes it 3 wide first? Nobody daring to go just yet. Everybody waiting to see kind of that cat and mouse game. I'll go if you go with me. And Guest baited Ken McCullough Jr., one of the veterans of the series. Just got duped by one of the Coke Series drivers. He tried to jump to the outside. Guest said, I'll go with you. And then he said, psych, no, I won't jump back down. And now he'll pick up Malik Ray. Now they're going to try it. Got 2 trucks rolling on the outside. Jeff Merck's going to jump up there as well. Oh, heck, it's big. Huge hit for Dylan Jones. Now they're all going to, oh, man, it looks like the rest of them actually save it. Close to all piling up there. Wow, Dylan Jones with a wallop of a hit off the outside wall. What in the world happened here? Well, man, looked like things were smooth relatively in the middle portions of the pack. Last thing we expected was trouble at the front here. And here we go. Watch this from TV3. Dylan Jones. Oh, does he blow up the motor there? I thought I might have saw a puff of smoke. I couldn't quite tell. I wonder if that's exactly what happened, though. Let's go to the onboard. That'll let us know everything we need. I can't tell. I really can't tell from that angle if he... I almost don't think he did. Did he... Did he sputter? I can't tell. I'm at a loss for that one. We'll have to see if Matthew Baker's got any more insight on it. I almost wonder if he didn't sputter with the way you saw the gauge kind of sputter. I mean, that's the best way to put it, is the gauge sputter. Let's see if we can see a speed slowdown here for Dylan Jones. I mean, it was pretty dramatic for him to get hit hard enough to get turned that hard into the outside wall, and he ducks down here. There's one sputter, maybe, and then as he drifts up, I don't know. I really have no idea what happened there. If it was just a checkup, what the deal was. I think it was a checkup based off of what it's looking like right here. And I mean, you see him and Lee start to get offset, and he knows that if he hits Lee while they're offset, it's just going to cause a wreck. And so right there, they get offset. He knows he's got to lift, and then as he's trying to do so, he's getting pushed from out back, and as a result, it pushes him up the track ever so slightly, and Alex Hill holding him pretty tight down there, and as a result, when the 38 washes up slightly, he's going to get into the left front of Alex Hill, and that sends him up the track, and man, that's a huge impact. All four tires off the ground, as I don't know how Andrew Navarro, and really everybody for that matter, managed to dodge this one. Saw Malik Ray, he gets turned 45 degrees sideways here, and he's going to somehow save this. Not without some contact, though, from Jeff Merck and a couple others. And then we'll give you actually a zoomed-in view here. This hit for Dylan Jones. I'm really curious to see what Race Control has to say about this one. But that's my best guess for now, is that I think that Jones was just trying to check up for Lee. I mean, otherwise, just not really sure what could have happened there to cause that big of a stack up for the 38. Ultimately started getting him out of shape and up into the 77. But we've seen a couple big hits tonight, but none quite as big as this one here for Jones. Watch this. The pit lane cam. Lucky that nobody else was collected in this one. But that will definitely end his night, as you saw it destroyed the truck. And Malik Ray and a couple others had a prime view of this one. Malik Ray, again, didn't go without any contact in this, so let's hop on his onboard, see what he saw through this one and the contact that he obtained through it. That contact, though, I will say, actually helped straighten him out, so that wreck may have been a lot worse without the contact. Nicely done there by everybody else to keep it clean, even through that wreck, and nobody actually piling up. Right here is where I thought it was going to get ugly. I thought they were all getting ready to pile it up again, but somehow they all scatter, they all spread out, and they all save it. But now this is going to put us into our first overtime restart here of the night. Again, we have 3 in total. Remind you real quickly of the rules. It's a green-white checkered finish. That means we'll take the green flag. Got to make it to the white flag for this race to be official. Otherwise, if we get a caution on that first lap, then we will rack them up and try it again. Matt Lee being scored as your leader. Trevor Osmanoff in second. Kevin Freeze in third. Devin Ray fourth. And Logan York rounding out your top 5. Jared Haynes back in 6th. Alex Hill 7th. Andrew Navarro in 8th. Malik Ray in 9th. And Chris Blanchard rounding out your top 10. Well, there is still a couple guys that we haven't had the chance to check out their onboard views yet tonight. But as always, we appreciate everybody carrying them. So with that, we're going to go see if we can check out how they're doing here. A couple of them at least. Talked about Jeff Merck. Boy, he's had a pretty eventful night. Right now, currently running in that 14th position. I'm looking to see if he can maybe pick up enough to get into a cash spot before this thing is all said and done. And then J.R. Miller for PGR eSports. Right now, he's got a lot of work to do himself as he finds himself back in the 31st position. And that truck's got a lot of damage, so I don't think it's going to work out too well for JR. But again, we appreciate him carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight nonetheless. Joshua Watson back in 33rd. That truck's pretty beat up as well. It just seems like so many times these races come down to these battles of attrition, and it's been certainly a pretty long time since we've had a race that went green all the way through, if ever. But it's just the nature of the beast when you have super speedway racing mixed with money on the line. Everybody's always going for it, and similar to real life, when they're going for it at the end, they have wrecks. And here in the money racing scene, they're going for it from just about start to finish. That's how you get the wrecks as a result. The lights off on the pace car means we're going back green this time, and I don't know, man. There's a couple big chances up here for a couple guys. I think I'm going to put my money on this one for Trevor Osmanoff to get his 3rd win in PGR. He's got a teammate behind him. You know that Devin Ray is one of the best pushers in the series. Jared Haynes, I don't know if he'll pull out of line either. It's going to be a fight all the way to the finish. Baker, you got anybody you got your eye on here?
The pace car, honestly. I've been watching the pace car for coming up on 2 hours here, so I think the pace car's led the most laps. I think he's going to get it done tonight, and we're going to donate all this money back to iRacing.
Well, certainly seems the way it has been here tonight, but nonetheless, hoping to get it wrapped up right here. And right now, as the pace car will make the left turn this time as he works his way off of turn number 4. And it's Matt Lee, Trevor Osnoth, both with a big opportunity here to cash in on potentially $200 here tonight. But still 2 laps and a lot of different things that could happen in that time. Here we go into the restart zone. Overtime number 1 underway at Daytona. Green flag in the air, checking up on the inside. But it looks like they're all going to be able to get rolling here without issue. Matt Lee, Trevor Osnoth with a pretty even restart. The backstretch is really going to be kind of the telltale story here of who's going to have the best shot, but already pulling out 3 wide. Malik Ray trying to make a move, nothing going. Michael Guess cuts him a break. He'll let him back down. Watch for those 2 to set up a run. I think they'll be the first 2 to go side by side off of turn 2.
Off of turn 2, Matt Lee giving a good shove by Kevin Freeze. Kevin Freeze getting pushed 5 deep there on the bottom, 3 deep on the top side. Malik Ray and Michael Guess stepping out 3 wide. Oh, wrecking towards the middle. Big wreck.
Big wreck, and we are going to rack them up and try it again here. More of them pile in. And more trouble up front here. 42, David Drohan off turn 4. Looks like he was collected. Tyler Vickery and Jimmy Emos. Looks like that's William Ransone as well. And Ransone's going to try to get it back rolling here. Looks like everybody is going to be able to roll away from this one. And so again, we will have to rack them up and try for overtime number 2. We got 3 attempts in total. But let's go back and see what causes this one here first. And it starts actually ahead of these 2. It starts right around Tucker McClendon. The 11 of Kenny Reel and the 76 there of William Ransone. And it seems like we find ourselves saying this quite a bit. And yet here we are saying it again. We'll never understand. Actually, let's see how this forms up here. Yeah, Ransone was behind the 11 of Kenny Reel here. And instead of pushing him, he decides to try to go 3 wide back for 20th position. No draft in the middle, so instead they get 3 wide here, and everybody's going to try to pinch each other. Nope, Ransone just washes right up into the 0-0 of Tucker McClendon and causes a wreck that really shouldn't have even been a wreck. You know, I hate to be blunt about it, but we're at that point in the race where you see stuff like that. It's really frustrating as a driver. You know, I've been in these positions before, and Tucker McClendon and Kenny Reel probably saying, what the heck are you doing, man? We're not going to go anywhere. Splitting 3 wide like that, just push one of us. And instead, it ends with a multi-truck pile up. Go to the chopper view here as I want to see. There may have been a little bit of netcode involved in this, actually. But I couldn't tell from that view. So here we go. So the 76 is in the middle. And there's a little bit, but I think there was going to be contact there anyway. And once that contact's made, that's going to send the 0-0 McClendon and the 76 down into the 11. Kenny Reel sends him up to the outside wall. That shoots Logan York back down the track, and then until everybody else piles in from there. Give you a couple more angles of this here. Back again from TV3. And Justin Mills gets collected. That might have been Mills instead of York. I couldn't tell who I saw got shot down the track. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. It was Justin Mills instead of Logan York. And that blue and gray Ford F-150. Watch this here from the blimp cam. And again, this is just, it's late in the race. I mean, right? Desperation set in. Everybody knows that there's only 5 spots paying here tonight, and it's the top 5. So doing whatever you have to, I get it. But at the end of the day, again, you got to help people to help yourself. And that's kind of the name of the game at Super Speedway Racing. And in that case, didn't work out for anybody. Give you one final view here from turn 3 and 4 cam. And Drohan almost saved it after getting tagged, but as he spun back down, that was how we saw him get collected. And so as we go back live, now fuel starts to become a question as we got a lot of guys coasting on the apron here. We'll see if they're going to be able to make it, but right now, as it stands, your leader being scored is Kevin Freeze. Trevor Oswald second, Logan York third, Devin Ray in fourth, and Alex Hill rounding out your top 5. We are going to take a quick break as we get ready for overtime number 2. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Daytona. Green flag is in the air. We are racing. Back live at the World Center of the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway, as we get ready for what should hopefully be the final restart here of the night. Kevin Freeze, Trevor Oswald. Here we go. 2-lap shootout. Pace car pulls off back into the Geico restart zone. Green flag in the air. Can we make it to the white flag? It's a good initial start for Trevor Oswald and Kevin Freeze. Problem is the outside doesn't have any help. Devin Ray's trying to get there, but he needs to get there a little bit faster. Kevin Freeze, Logan York linked up on the bottom. Alex Hill trying to push as well. Now the help is there, and sometimes, oh, watch out. Third lane trying to split. There goes Malik Ray and Jeff Merck. Malik going to jump back down. That'll leave Merck all by himself. Drag race off of 2.
Merck hung out to dry in the third lane. You're going to have to stay 2x2 here for at least a couple times. Michael Triscaro's got some damage. He's going to have to no lift here in the middle, going all the way to the back. Jeff Merck is, but we're still 2x2 up front. Good push, and I think maybe we're going to get to the white flag. We're finally going to be able to finish this race. I hope we get there, though.
Short shoot to go. Devin Ray pushing on his KSR teammate, doing everything he can. Here we go. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go at Daytona. And it's a good push on the bottom that'll give Kevin Freeze a surge back to the front. Logan York will get clear. The 0-1's going to make a move. He's got to time it up, though, just perfect. Can Logan York find his first win here tonight?
Down the backstretch. Oh, big pull out of line. What a move. Logan York looking to win his first PGR event. He's getting a push from the Jack Shack. They sponsor the race. He pulls down to the bottom now. He's going to get a big push from Kevin. Kevin may get clear 3 wide on the top side. Here comes Malik. Here comes Michael Guess. They're going to have the side of, oh, they're trying to wreck in the middle. I think they're going to. Maybe Malik Ray's going to get out of it. He doesn't, though. Down the short shoot. Logan York looking to win. Trevor Oswald can't get the side draft. It's going to be Logan York.
Logan York captures his first win in PGR, and I know he is one happy man right now. Up 35 spots this race to get the job done. He did it in overtime number 2. Made a move to the outside, timed it perfect, and went to victory as they all wrecked behind him. And as he'll come around to celebrate, we'll await that. As he does, we got to get a look at your results here tonight, and then back at, of course, that last lap. Man, what a win by Logan. I'll tell you what, it was just a matter of time. You knew it was coming, and tonight, finally the night, but the 01 gets the job done for Blind Squirrel Racing. Kevin Fries brings home a second-place finish. Trevor Osenoff in third. Garrett Maines back in fourth. Sierra Clampert fifth. Jeff Merck in sixth. Zach Range seventh. Chris Blanchard in eighth. Michael Triscaro in ninth. And Devin Ray rounding out your top 10. Joshua Watson finishes 11th. J.R. Miller in 12th. Jason Maines 13th. David Drohan in 14th. Tucker McClendon for Blind Squirrel Racing finishes in 15th. It's Tyler Vickery back in 16th. Jimmy Emos in 17th. And the team owner, Ambrose Kniebel, going to be pretty happy that his driver won. He finishes in 18th here tonight. Michael Guest in 19th. Ken McCullough Jr. rounding out your top 20. Nash Brunvilla finishes 21st. Jared Haynes in 22nd. Matt Lee 23rd. Mike Davenport 24th, Andrew Navarro 25th, Mark Vondell in 26th, Jonathan Legger in 27th, Malik Ray in 28th, Alex Hill 29th. Rounding at your top 30 is Douglas Camp in the 408. William Ransone finishes 31st, Kenny Reel 32nd, Justin Mills 33rd, Nicholas Davis in 34th, Dylan Jones 35th, Sean Corbett in 36th, Tony Cox 37th, Anthony Owens in 38th, John Mullahan in 39th, and Danny Escherman rounding out your top 40. Mark Math finishes 41st and rounds out the field here tonight. Well, before we go get your top 3 for interviews, is Logan York. Not sure if he ran out of gas or what the deal was, but not going to be able to celebrate as he did not make it all the way back around. Let's quickly go get another view of this last lap, and more importantly, I'd say all the way from about the back stretch all the way over here to 3 and 4 where they all piled up out back. Watch the move by York. He times it up perfect, and Baker, we see it a lot. You make that move too early, you get split. You make that move too late, it's a wreck. York did it absolutely perfect. He waits for the run to come. Here comes the run. Gets up. Trevor Osenoff could have split him, but he stays loyal. There's a huge stack up on the bottom, and that allowed York to surge to the front. As soon as he gets there, he jumps down in front of Fries. And then now, this is where things start to get a little bit chaotic. Watch the disorganization form up on the outside as Devin Ray just gets his teammate a little bit offset there, and then he's getting pushed by the 2 offset. So that almost sends him around. It's a good save initially by Devin, but then the second time here, not going to be able to save it. He gets down into Alex Hill, and they're all trying to miss it up top, but as the wreck comes back up, boy, they wreck big time too. Look at the amount of trucks that one collects, and then it was a 3-truck battle to the line. Kevin Fries not letting off. Logan York had the push. Osenoff did it, and he gets the win there by about a truck, maybe a truck and a quarter over Kevin Fries. And smart on Kevin there to push Logan instead of trying to split. By doing so, he's able to get himself a second-place finish instead of a potential third. All right, we're going to go bring in your top 3, including your race winner, Logan York. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Daytona. All right, back live at Daytona International Speedway. We're going to start first tonight with your 3rd-place finisher, Trevor Osenoff. Trevor, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got a copy.
Well, old 2-time almost became old 3-time here tonight. Not quite enough, but, man, what a crazy race it was. Overall, break us down kind of how you felt about the race in general, and then if there's anything you wish you could have done a little different there in the last 2 laps.
I don't think I would have done anything else different, man. I think it was survival of the fittest. That's what we did. We just survived. Me and Devin tried to stay out of. I think we were in the least amount of wrecks tonight. I think that was it. Just being able to stay clean, getting in the track position. We ended up saving a ton of fuel and running out at the line. I think Logan ran out completely at the line. And I don't think I would have done anything else different. I got a little shove in the 3 and the 4. It moved me up a little bit, which is fine. And I guess it checked everybody else up and wrecked behind us. So I'll take a 3rd for now, baby. But I'm coming for that 3. I didn't want the 3, but I'm coming for that 3.
Absolutely. Well, the speed you showed tonight certainly looks like it's in the near future. Well, before we let you head out to celebrate your podium finishes, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I got to shout out Devin Ray. Dude, couldn't ask for a better teammate. It was just two of us out here right now. All the KSR guys. Dustin was in there giving us motivation. Joe was watching on YouTube giving us motivation. I got to shout out Logan York, man. Say what you want to say. The Joker did it, finally. About time. But congrats, Logan York. Jack Shack, shout out to the Jack Shack, baby. Jack Shack sponsored tonight. So I guess I got to just get the Jack Shack to sponsor every race because I had a hell of a race tonight. Appreciate you guys for the broadcast. Always phenomenal. Can't wait to go back and watch it. And thanks, Michael, putting these things on, man. PGR. Always appreciate y'all.
Thank you, of course, for talking to us. Again, congrats on the third place finish, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, brother.
All right, and now that'll bring us to your second place finisher here on the night. Kevin Freeze, Matthew Baker stands by with him.
Hey, Kev, it's Matt and Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Heck yeah.
Well, talk to me through the entire race. You just you survived the chaos all night. Austin called it the Daytona World Center of Wrecking tonight because that's all we did.
Yeah.
Only got about eight or nine solid green flag laps of 3-lap racing in, but nonetheless, you come home second place. How'd you get it done?
It was a pretty calm beginning for me, and then it all hell broke loose. I was up in that. Well, first it was on the deal on the bottom happened with Navarro. That really sucked for him. So I didn't get any damage from that, but that certainly started the chaos race for me. And then after that, the wreck. I don't even know what happened. I didn't look at it yet, but I got absolutely slammed straight into the wall. Luckily, I was in the third lane, so it didn't completely kill me, but the truck really sucked after that. It didn't suck up to anything. It was pretty terrible, but got strong pushing there on the restart. Was able to stay up with Dylan, and then they had some kind of checkup. I checked up, but getting the accordion effect coming to the end of these races, you're just going to get pushed straight through. That's understandable with what's going on, but survived all that. And then Logan gave me a heck of a push on that restart. And I knew he was going to pull out of line, and I would have done the same thing with how much damage I had. He timed it perfectly, came down, and was able to push him through to the win, stay out of that last lap chaos. That was nuts. A lot of wrecking.
A lot of wrecking for sure. Pace car led the most laps. Barney's hand probably hurts from waving the flag a lot, and I know I'm
sure does.
Pretty tuned up, and Austin's pretty tired. So it was a long night for us for sure. But you got the second place. Who'd you like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, thanks to Garrett and Jason, who I was running with. Thank you to Chevrolet for building a pretty strong race car truck to be able to deal with all that shit that we put it through tonight. So. Got to thank them. Thank the drivers for putting on a nice, clean race tonight. Nothing going on track, and you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thank you.
Thanks for talking to us, Kev.
Yeah, man. Have a good night.
All right, and now that's going to lead us to your winner here on the night. It's been a long time coming, but you knew it would strike eventually. First win in PGR for Logan York. Logan, this is Austin and Baker up in the booth. You got a copy.
Yeah, I got you, Austin.
Well, there you go. You get the job done. You get your first win here tonight. First off, how you feeling about it?
I feel great, man. The stars finally aligned.
Oh, man, you had to work for it, especially at the end there. I mean, only lap you led here tonight was the most important one right at the end. Kevin said it. We saw it in the booth. You timed the move up perfectly. What was going through your head those last two laps, and how did you decide on that move? Did you have it pre-planned, or did you just kind of make it happen as it formed up?
Yeah, well, my engine temperatures kind of planned that move out for me. I knew I was going to have to go out there at some point, and I didn't want to do it too early because I know if I do, they'll go 3, and then if I do it too late, then I'm going to wreck the field. So I tried to wait until Trevor was to Alex's number. And once I got there, I was like, figure out, hopefully I get first or second out of this, and it just went my way this time.
Well, you get the job done here tonight. You capture the first win. So before we let you go celebrate your winnings, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I want to thank my teammate, Tucker McClendon. I want to thank you guys for broadcasting. I want to thank Michael and everyone that puts the PGR stuff together, everyone that watches these races, everyone that does these races. I want to thank Kevin Freeze for not spinning me out. I want to thank Trevor Astronaut for not spinning me out. And yeah, that's it.
And thank you, of course, for talking to us. Again, congrats on the win. We'll see if you can maybe make it back-to-back next week.
Of course. Thank you. Also, thank you, Matthew Baker, for the random applause soundboard when I joined. Appreciate that.
All right, and I will take full credit for that. Thank you very much. That's going to wrap it up for us here tonight in the booth. Well, we had some fun nonetheless, and all things considered, a lot of cautions. I will say, though, we did get a great last 2 laps, so we certainly appreciated that and appreciated anybody that stuck around, at least to this point, with us here tonight. We're not going to keep you any longer. We'll wrap things up there. That'll do it for me, Austin Green, and Matthew Baker here on PGR eSports. We'll be back next week for more Intimidator Superspeedway Series action. Until next time, have a good night.